So today I'm going to share with you my favorite fountain pen inks and my top four, actually my top five, and the ones that I have recently acquired. I'm going to do a little flip through, and my new fountain pen storage since I've acquired so many colors. But my regular subscribers, you guys already know Miss Diamond here, Miss Twisby. The Twisby 580 rose gold. She is the one. She's the one that got me into the fountain pen rabbit hole. She's the one that convinced me how fun this hobby can be and how relaxing I find writing with these tools. The ink flow, the variety of different colors, experimenting with different brands of writing tools and nib sizes. It's just a fun experience. And Twisby, specifically this one, she's the one that was a game changer for me because I almost gave up. I almost gave up with the first few that I've tried. My Pilot Metropolitan, my Lamy Safari. They just weren't pulling me in. But luckily I did not give up, and third time's a charm, and it was the Twisby for me. Now, last year in 2024, you guys know that I have fallen in love with, again, another Twisby, but this has made it to like my top 5 favorite inks of all time. Now, again, I am, still kind of new to the fountain pen world, to the fountain pen game. For now, at least, I'm going to say this is part of my top 5. Robert Oster, I'm showing you right here. It's Robert Oster Cafe Crema. And I'm showing you this because what's nice about these Twisby fountain pens is that it has like this large ink capacity and this ink window on this barrel where you can see how much ink you have left. Right there you could see. And what color. So one thing I noticed about myself, I like to play matchy-matchy. I try not to, but I just can't help it. When I see a certain pen or design, I just know what type of color shade or hue it's going to kind of stick in. So this is always going to be inked with some type of brown, goldish, ink, just like my Twisby 580 rose gold. She's always going to be inked up with probably like black ink. Yeah, I tried Coffee Break, but nah, I like her in a nice, sleek black. So let me show you my ink log and show you the inks that I would recommend if you are a beginner or you're looking for somewhere to start, and perhaps some retail websites that may help you as well. Oh, and then I'll show you my storage because some of you wanted to know how I'm storing my my inks, and it's really not that fancy. So let's start with my let's start with my ink log. I always recommend. I have to show you this new notebook. Okay, so I always recommend for inks, start with the color that you know you're going to write with all the time, or at least the most. For me, I love a nice black. So when I was starting off in my fountain pen journey back in 2019, 2020, I was looking for like a budget, a budget friendly brand and ink because I was starting off and I didn't know if it was going to be worth the investment. So a lot of the pen friends in the fountain pen community on Instagram, they recommended Noodlers. Okay, that's the brand, Noodlers ink. And then this is Heart of Darkness. You guys, this whole bottle was like, at the time, I think it was like $18 when I got this like on jet pens. And I still, I don't know if you guys can tell, there's barely like a dent on here. I have so much in this bottle, and it's a very nice dark black ink. But again, you have to make sure you're using the right type of notebook because this will bleed through if you're using like recycled paper, or especially paper made in the USA. For my US based viewers, if you see that the notebook's made in USA, just steer away from fountain pen inks because most likely it's going to bleed through, because a lot of that is recycled, and it's best for just like gel inks and ballpoint pens. I always recommend choosing a color that you're going to pull to on a daily basis to get you in the fountain pen hobby. And that for me was black. So I got number 1 is a good black ink. Since I've acquired a few others, I also recommend like the Pilot, their black ink. But second, well, of course, if you like brown, okay, we're going black and then brown. I highly recommend Cafe Crema by Robert Oster. I did not think I was going to be a brown type of person, but I am. I quickly learned oh my gosh, with the right brown ink, it's just so beautiful. It's so calming. It's so relaxing. And what I love, well, I just showed you guys, but the perfect chef's kiss combo. Okay. And a lot of you guys have tried this too. So I'm glad my recommendation has helped. But this with the medium nib, okay, the TWSBI Eco in Cafe Bronze. This is a new model that came out last year in 2024. Oh my gosh, you guys, with this nib, I mean, I'm sure if you go with a fine, it'll write just as beautifully, but this medium nib with the Robert Oster Cafe Crema, so smooth, so bouncy, so soft. And what's interesting is the Robert Oster, maybe it's just this color, I'm not sure, because I'm going to purchase a couple more in the upcoming months, but I noticed that this ink does not bleed through on papers that would normally bleed through with other inks. So I'm not sure if their formula is just like a little different, but like on certain like moleskin, you know, pages I've experimented with, certain, you know, paper that I just kind of scribble around like in my notepads, this doesn't bleed through. So it's, you can see I need to fill it up again because I've used it so much, and I use this pen and ink combo pretty much like 6 months out of the year last year. I love it. Get it black. The brown, I recommend Cafe Crema by Robert Oster. I always recommend Diamine ink. I'm just going to flip through this. Diamine ink. And I think, oh, here's the Noodler's brand again, Lexington Gray, but Diamine. Okay, Diamine is the brand. I'm just flipping through this real quick. And the color is called Earl Grey. This is my top, again, in my top 5. So this would be like number 3. This is a nice gray color with like a tint of purple. Yes, this was one of my first, you know, fountain pen purchases along with my Heart of Darkness. So I recommend Earl Grey by Diamine because it's still like a nice classic, you know, like a neutral color. And then my 4th recommendation, it's also by the brand Diamine, Ancient Copper. If you want more of a rustic color, it's not quite orangey where it pops in your face, but it's not too reddish. It's in the right sweet spot. It's like a beautiful rustic sunset. This reminds me of like a blood orange. It's beautiful. And again, depending on what type of nib you use, you can get more of the color saturation or less. And yeah, I think this would be, it really depends again on the paper. But yeah, I recommend Ancient Copper if this is kind of, you know, your vibe. And then my 5th is Writer's Blood by Diamine as well. It's a nice dark, I described it as like wine, you know, burgundy color, very dark. It could almost lean towards black, but it has enough of a tint where you can tell it's not black. So those are the top 5 that I recommend. And oh, here's, yeah, and these are just all the other, you can see this is a dark, or this is a bright orange compared to this. But anyway, this is just my ink log. So those are the top 5 that I recommend to those starting off. But just quickly flipping through my sample book, and then I'll show you how I store these. What's nice about now, I would say, is that there are retailers, at least here in 2025 in this year, that offer now samples. When I started off, there weren't, were there? 2019? Maybe maybe I just wasn't aware. I think when I was just Googling inks, I just went to one particular retailer because they were close by me, and I just always went to jetpens.com, and they still don't offer like samples. So, you know, that's why I was very mindful and intentional on what bottles I purchased because I was buying them at a bottle at a time. Now, though, there are retailers, I think they've kind of picked up on how helpful it would be to offer little samples. So there are a good handful out there, I guess depending on which country you live in, that offer little like 2 mils, 3 mils, or 4 mils of 4 or 5 mils of ink samples. So you don't have to buy the full bottle for like $20 or $30. You can get little sample size anywhere from like $2 to $5, which is very helpful in seeing how an ink will perform or how it looks in person. Okay, you know what? My top 6. I would say my top 6. I forgot about this beautiful night sky. Add this to your cart, okay? If you're like me and I don't really care for blue inks. I'm not crazy about blue in general. I never have been. But who knows, right? That's what I thought about brown. But either the blue is, if I do like blue, I like it to be dark enough where it almost looks like a gray black. But I don't like bright blue. I don't want it to be like in your face, bright blue. I don't know why. But this Night Sky by Lennon Toolbar, I've acquired this in the past week and wow, it's beautiful. It has like a very light sheen, kind of like a tint right there, like a purple. It's beautiful. And I have it inked in my, my Kakunu Pilot pen. And let me show you. I love how this looks. So beautiful, right? Yeah, I definitely recommend this. Okay, so I would add that to my top 6 if you think you like that type of blue. But I'm gonna flip through some other colors that you may gravitate towards. This is Enchanted Ocean by Diamine. It has a little bit of shimmer. I quickly realized that I don't like shimmer or glitter in my inks. While I don't mind a little glitzy shimmer on the fountain pen body, like if it's a Benu brand, I don't like it in my ink or on my pages. It's just too much for me. I don't like it, and at least for now, who knows? I could move into that phase later on, but for now, I prefer like no shimmer, no glitter in it. Sheening, I don't mind, or like shading, I don't mind. The Pelican Brown, this beautiful honeybee. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip through these real quick, and then I'm gonna show you how I store my pens. This is beautiful, this Diamine Dusted Truffle. I really like this kind of like a muted onyx, like I don't know, it's like a murky color, but I noted it does have some type, like it has a little bit of, I don't know if you guys can see, it does have like sparkles in it. And then this is a Cosmo paper, which I thought was like my favorite type of paper, but a few of you did let me know that it does catch up on like oils. And I can see right here where I was trying to swatch it, my thumbprint or my fingerprint caught up on the notebook and it kind of repelled that ink. So that's the only thing with Cosmo paper, is that if it's, some type of like oily residue, the ink, it'll like repel the ink. So these are all of the inks I have in samples. My recent one, the Pilot Sungyo, that's beautiful. It's purple. And well, this is like bright in your face. This Scribble Purple by Diamine, I thought this has like a nice little sheen to it. I don't know if you guys can see right there. That's interesting. So it's fun just experimenting with different inks on different types of paper. This Salamander by Diamine, this is like a beautiful like chameleon color, because it comes off almost like dark green, and then it dries to kind of like a olive color, and I'm not sure if you can see in the light. Can you see? It has like a bit of like a yellow olive right here, like undertone. So it's like interesting. I kind of like this, but if I use it like on a fine nib, you may not be able to see the ink qualities. Snowstorm, yeah, this was a sparkly. This was beautiful. It reminded me of slightly of like the Earl Grey, but a little bit more on the colder, like grayer side. Best Wishes. This has like a beautiful sheen right there to it. And what else do I have? Pilot. This is a charcoal black. I thought this was really nice. It's not bold like black black. And then this claret. Oh, I like this by Robert Oster. I almost thought about getting that for my new, the Kakunu in pink, but I'm going to see. Actually, this J. Arbonne. Let me see this one. Ooh, that one looked good. The Gris Oul. Okay, so that is pretty much my ink flip through. All of the samples I've ever tried or I've received or I've, once had in my collection. Nothing fancy. How I keep my log, just kind of throw the paper on there and just have fun with it. Now that I have acquired so many inks, I was right here, you guys, I was storing them in a shoebox because my ink collection was just like a small little, I'll show you. It was not even that many to begin with. Again, I just had my black ink. This was too big, so I just kind of kept it in the corner of my shelf, the Heart of Darkness. And then, let me get through this. Okay, where do I even begin? Okay, I'll explain what everything is. Everything has like a purpose. Okay, so the diamonds were really easy to store because they were like in this size bottle. What is this, 30 mil? Yeah, 30 mil. I found it very like cute. This is like a nice, perfect size. What's even better is the Jacques Arbonne. I like this size. This is a 10 mil. I find that this is a perfect size for ink because you really don't need, I don't think, like that much. At least for me, I find like this is enough to hold me over until I get tired of it and I want to experiment with the new color. These are the Writer's Blood. These are the original bottles that I've had since the very beginning. My Earl Grey and my Ancient Copper. So I just had these in my shoebox because, I'm just recycling what I had. And from what I understood, you do not want to keep fountain pen ink in like exposed sunlight because, it is water-based, so it could evaporate. So I kept it like in in my shoebox, down on the bottom of my shelf, kind of like hidden. I did not really need, I think, like proper storage box, but as you can see, wow, it's getting really full. So let me show you, let me show you what else I have in here. And I have this little ramekin because what I like to do is when I get my ink samples, which I'll show you, I use this glass nib. Retailers, they sell this. You can just call it like a glass dip nib, and it's very convenient because you don't have to ink up a fountain pen to try out or test the inks. I just will, dip it in the fountain pen and then just like scribble with it. So a lot of my ink logs that you just saw, it was done with, I'll make a note right here. See, ink test with glass nib. So it kind of comes out like a medium-ish broad when I do it, but it's nice because then once I'm done, this will be filled with water and I'll just dip it and then get a napkin and rinse it and then just test out a new color. So this is very handy and convenient. And what's really nice is if you do get samples from retailers, it will fit in like the little vial here. I do recommend if you want to experiment with different colors and receive samples, get some type of like, glass dip nib. What else? Okay, I'm going to move these into a new box, but this is just showing you what I've all had in here. Just empty containers to send samples to, to friends, some pen friends and pen pals. And then all of my Pilot cartridges that I've acquired. These Pilot cartridges that I got in a pack from my very first Pilot Metropolitan, since I've since sold that, but I've held on to these for one day. I'm surprised I held on to these and I didn't sell them or give them away because I don't know, I guess deep down I knew that somehow I'd always return back to Pilot, and I'm glad I kept this because I can use these with the Kakunus, yeah, and the the capless, my capless. I love that pen. This, I put this in here. It's by Zebra. It's just like a little Sharpie pen. But what I found, because I don't have the proper, all the proper swatching tools that these expert and seasoned fountain pen people have, I have, okay, let me show you. Actually, let me show you right here. So what I would do, let's just say, okay, I got like a fountain pen, ink, or a tester. I would dip the end ever so like lightly, and then in my ink box, depending, there were some that I did it with. Let me show you, like, okay, right here. I would just go like this and then just see how it looks. Because my method, like, of labeling these, some of you asked, like, how do I get the boldness here of the name? You guys, it's a Q-tip. Okay, I'm sure now that I know a little bit better, I'm sure using a Q-tip is not the best. Do I have a Q-tip in here? Okay, maybe not. It's not the best way because obviously, with the cotton, it's going to like suck up a lot of your ink than maybe what's necessary. But yeah, I still use a Q-tip only because that one Q-tip, it will give me all these swatches. So on that little dip, I'll saturate it, and then I will just do that, and then I'll write out the name, and then all of this that you see here is done with the Q-tip. All of this, other than this little circular action, that's where I get the bottom of this and swirl it. Now I could use, oops, sorry, my camera. I could use the bottom of this, the glass nib, but I found that this dimension, it actually fits perfectly in these testers. These little samples. Wait, does this one fit? Oh, I guess you could, but it's not like flat. It has like a little bit of a hump to it. So this is actually like flat, and then I'll just put it in like that in the sample, and then I'll just swish it around on the paper. Again, I don't know if that's, a correct way, but that's just the way that I'm doing it as a newbie until I get whatever people use to swatch professionally. Going back to the box. Okay, so remember how I said you can get some samples from retailers? Yeah, I was tired of kind of keeping them in my little baggie, and if I just kept them here in the box, they eventually do fall down. So I was at Target, and I found some proper storages, which I'm going to show you. And if you have a Target in your area, you may benefit from that as well, or you may find helpful for you. Do you keep your boxes, by the way? I don't know if this is a good thing, a bad thing. Is it necessary? But I still keep the box that the inks come in. I probably don't need to, but I find it's just easier for storage. I can kind of, Tetris them in better. I always keep the box for the fountain pens, or the fountain pen inks, I should say, the inks, and the fountain pens too. The Pilot, I got this big bottle. Oh, the website, because someone is probably going to be curious to know, like, what website do I use or recommend for samples. Again, it's dependent on like where you're located, what country you're in. But here in the United States, I never heard of this website until I was looking for this ink. I was looking for the new Pilot, the Xiango ink, the dark purple, and I saw, this was sold out like everywhere. And then as I did a Google search just one night, just to kind of make sure one more time, I saw it on truefei.com. I'll link it down below. It looks like it's spelled Truepay, but they pronounce it Truefei, TRUPHAE.com. I'll link them down below. But I found, at least at this time, in this time of this video, that their offerings are pretty competitive for the amount of ink you get. depending on, I think, like the brand and the color, they offer, is it like 5 mil? Yeah, they offer 5 mil, which is pretty much all the way up to this tube. Other retailers, they will offer like 2 mil. That's still a good size of ink. Or even like, can you see the number right here? 3 mil, which is still pretty good again. But TrueFay.com, they offered 5 mil. 5 mil, and again, the prices were very competitive. It depends on which brand, but I think that's why I got so many, you guys, because it was like, oh, $3 here, okay, $2 here, $4 here. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it does add up when you quickly add all these colors into your cart. Well, I will link down below their website if you're interested. They don't carry, just like, you know, certain retailers, not everyone's going to have everything, every brand. So just like, I really enjoy the Lennon Toolbar brand, but only certain retailers sell them, and no one offers samples of these. So I have to buy like the full bottle. So you'll see I have like more samples. You see, they're just thrown in the box, and I want a proper storage for these beautiful inks. What is this? Noodlers. Oh, the gray. This is the coffee break that I have in my capless pilot. See, you guys, I keep the boxes in here. So I'm just going to take all this out because we're not going to need this shoebox anymore. I've upgraded. Oh, this is a recent acquire, the ochre. Oh, and then thanks to your guys' recommendation, my permanent archival ink, I have the platinum carbon ink. I'm excited to use this. I do have another Jinhao 10 replacement on the way, so I'm going to ink that with this. So once that comes, I'm going to bust this open and maybe do a video with you guys. And then these are my Bungu Box inks. And these are so unique, like the design here. I mean, I want them out so I can just like look at them because they're so like pretty, but again, they just kind of stay in the box. So now let me show you the ink storage that I have planned for the, is that it? For the sample. Oh, there are my Q-tips. These are my little Q-tips. Okay, and then all this other stuff doesn't really matter. Oh, real quick, for my US-based viewers, this is the Top Flight brand, and while I've used it before in the past with like dark gel inks, I was surprised to see that it actually holds up decently well with fountain pen inks. Like, it's not the best, it's not perfect, but for a couple dollars, it will do. Like, if you like to use your fountain pens to log your daily errands, or just to write down quotes, or just to have some type of notebook, a handy dandy notebook with you, I got this because I like this B6 slim size, and it was like only $3. And I was like, hey, you know what? Let me try it. It has 200 pages. So, and I like that the spiral, you know, it's not too big, where I can just still, it'll be comfortable on my hands. So I was swatching the inks, and I mean, there's a little bit like slight bleed through, but I mean, for the most part, it's not horrible because I wrote a little bit right here. So yeah, I think I'm going to have fun just using this notebook. Especially once I get my other Jinhao, I can use it as like my little scratch pad. So I just wanted to point that out if you're looking for budget friendly like notebooks. Okay, so this is the storage box that I got. It's from Target. I have to be careful because it's glass, but I will link it down below if you're interested in it. This is the, it's called that's the brand with Magnolia. Decorative display case. And here's the SKU, if that helps, the SKU number. And I was looking at these little boxes, and I was thinking, oh, this might actually fit the fountain pen samples that I have. And sure enough, they do. Let me just show you how I plan on organizing these, so that way they don't have to be kept in these little baggies. Now, one thing that I did was the website, they labeled this. I did not do that. They labeled this. They put this little sticker on here, which is really nice. I just added the color on here. So I thought about having these in certain like color like you know, color sections. Like this could be like blue, red, green, black. But again, my ink sample collection is not that large. I'm just going to kind of put them in based off of kind of like my favorites, I would say. I'm just doing this on the camera for now just to show you guys how much it fits, but off camera I'll put them in order of like what I want to use next, or what appeals to me, and which ones I could maybe not care less for, or that's maybe seasonal, like for the holidays, or used for maybe special occasions like pen paling. So it fits 9. It'll fit 9 in here. So how perfect is this box? I thought, oh my goodness, this is a perfect way to store my samples, because I am now doing, you know, some pen ink swatches with pen pals. And these little tubes, I found them on Amazon. This exact one that this company used. Because, you know, there's different brands, different sizes, and I'll show you. I'll link it down below where you can get it on Amazon, but that's where I have these empty ones. But these fit as well. So these are the exact same ones that this Truffet company used, and these fit the 9 in here. So if I want to if I want to store the empty ones in here, I can, or I can just keep them in the bag. What was nice is the website, the company, they actually, when they sent the sample, they sent them like this, because I ordered so many, they sent them like this in a bundle of like 6. So that's where I got this idea, because this came like in a big, like, let me show you. It came like in a big plastic bag like this, and I didn't want to just throw this in the shoebox. It wouldn't fit. So I got this from them. I'm like, oh, you just, you know, reverse it, and I can keep this little baggie that they sent. So this is where all my samples are going to go. And I wanted to hurry and post this video just in case, you know, some of you want to get this at your Target. Not that I'm trying to enable you to get a lot of samples, but you know, if you find yourself getting curious, or maybe swapping with other friends. Now you can use this for something else too. You can use this, it could be like a multi-purpose storage. This could be ink, you know, your samples. You could put your smaller ink bottles in here. This does not fit the Diamine, unfortunately. It's a little too high, but if you have like these smaller bottles, you know, that could fit. Or if you have those cartridges like I do, you can throw, you know, take these out the wrapper and throw them in here. Or like these, you know, you can stack them. Oh, you could stack it like this. Yeah, so there's so many ways that you can use this, okay? So that's one of the storage box options I want to show you. You just close it like this, and it has like this little chain on the side. And then for my remaining actual ink bottles, because now I'm not going to use that shoebox, I have this nice proper box. It has like this nice olive like fabric cover, this leather tag pull. I don't even know. No, it's not real leather. It's not real leather. I thought it was real leather, but it's called just their storage box. And this is in their large size. They had like a medium and a large, and yeah, this is what it looks like. And this is perfect because, is that too high? Okay, so that Robert Oster is too high. But to show you, my Diamines would fit, my Lennon tool, yeah, that would fit. I don't want to like store my inks like this, because I'm always afraid that it's going to leak. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but I might just put them on my shelf then. So this is the Colorverse. If you have Colorverse inks, it will fit in this box. This is my Bungu box. Oh yeah, that fits. Okay. And then my Sailor ink, you know, this will fit. My Platinum. Yeah, so everything is pretty much fitting, except for, you know, the Robert Oster and the Noodler's ink, too high. The Pilot, I wonder if I put it outside of the box, is it too high or will it fit? Let me see. Ooh, it'll fit. Okay, it will fit. So I should probably just take it out of the box and recycle it. But let me know, do you guys keep boxes too? Okay, so that is now my proper ink storage system. Now you guys know these will be grouped together somewhere else. And then I have like my testing like that. And yeah, I'd love to know maybe what inks you guys are enjoying, what your favorites are, maybe what you could recommend some great notebooks for newbies. Some of you, if you're on your journey and you want the best performance with paper to bring out the colors in the inks that you use, just, you know, based off of what people have told me and my personal use, you can do Cosmo Air. I find that the color comes out brilliantly and bright with this. But like I said earlier, if you do get like oils, or if, you know, maybe if you have like a lotion, that will it will repel the ink that you use. Galen Leather Company, they offer the Cosmo Air paper, so you could find it through them. Galen also has the Tomoe River paper. I know that's very, very popular with the fountain pen community. For me, it's taken me a while to kind of warm up to this paper just because it's so thin, and I don't know, it almost feels, I'm trying to look for my ink samples. Just sometimes it feels kind of like wet, it feels kind of damp, but given how thin it is, it holds the ink, you know, very well. So by Galen Leather, the Tomoe River paper. Also 7 Seas, this, I really like this brand. 7 Seas, they make, is it Tomoe River paper? I think so. But given how thin the paper is, it holds fountain pen ink well, and you can still see like the colors, the saturation comes out pretty good. I shared this, the Logical Air from Barnes & Noble. This is very budget friendly, $6.99. This is a B5 size, so it's like a composition notebook. If you don't like, you know, something big, then I don't know if you'll like this notebook because it does take up more desk space, but it does show the inks very well. Also, Daiso, if you have a Daiso in your area, these are very budget friendly, under $2. They come in A5 and A6 size from what I remember. So I need to go back to Daiso and stock up. This is more on the creamy side, but wow, given the price point, these notebooks work well. I'm gonna stock up next time I go to Daiso. Good impressions. When I discovered this brand at Barnes & Noble, they sell, did you guys know they sell the different designs, paper designs now? At first they start off with lined, but I think, you know, it started getting popular and they now have the grid and the dot. So I'm happy to see them kind of like branch out at Barnes & Noble. But I did a video on this, and this paper like took me by surprise. I just really loved how the ink came through, especially with my writer's blood. And what ink was this? Boom Boo Box? Yeah, Silent Night, beautiful. The Ancient Copper, even the Sailor ink. I did a little bit of journaling. Let me see, like right here. This is kind of just like my little quote book. So I use this, you know, when I want to have fun with fountain pens. You can see like the Vert Empire. I use this lined notebook. I like this brand so much, the Good Ink Impressions, that I ordered the plain version without the lines. And yeah, I think I might be using this to kind of experiment with. The only downside is when you order it from their website, like on Etsy, it takes like a good 3 weeks for it to come. So that's the only downside. And then the tried and true and trusty, I love my Midori paper. Let me show you a sample. Okay, this is like my commonplace notebook, but here are my ink swatches, and yeah, the colors come out beautiful on this paper. So I hope this kind of gives you an idea of what types of paper or brands to look for when using, you know, certain inks, especially fountain pen inks. And I'll see you guys in the next video.